Now, the Bvas machine used by INEC in this cycle of the elections has three key and relevant features. Now, the first is what is known to everyone, which is the feature where you come with your voter's card and it's accredited using that machine. That's the most common feature that everyone knows. Now, we also know that there is a second feature which requires the presiding officer to take a photograph of the results after the election must have concluded in each polling unit. There's a third feature which many Nigerians are not aware of, which is what was shown in that video in the green box, the ability of the Bvas machine to actually transmit directly from the Bvas the number of cards that passed through that machine on that day. In other words, the number of persons that were actually accredited in the election on that day can be directly transmitted to iREV. That is distinguished from the result sheet, which is photographed and sent to iREV. Now, what that does is that it gives you a snapshot of a side-by-side snapshot of what transpired in that polling unit, so that the machine is showing you the number of people that were accredited as well as the result sheet. And you can see in that single shot whether they correspond to each other. As you saw in the video, in some polling units, the Bvas machine is saying 49 people were accredited, yet the result sheet is saying 1,093 were accredited. That immediately tells you that there is something wrong with that result. Now, this is a wonderful feature that the Bvas machine has. But surprisingly, after the Bayelsa elections, INEC apparently disabled that feature so that in the subsequent elections, after the Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi elections that were held on the same day, the Bvas machine no longer transmits the accreditation figure directly to the iREV. Now, all it does is the snapshot of the result sheet. Now, while that is good, that does not militate against fraud, in the sense that anything can be the result sheet. If you recall, in some previous elections, some of the presiding officers, perhaps out of ignorance, were even snapping their faces and uploading on the iREV. I don't know if some people saw that sort of thing. What that means is that whatever you take a photograph of is what is uploaded to the iREV. It does not guarantee the authenticity of that result. Now, the feature that should show you that, yes, that result is at least has a certain level of authenticity is the other feature where the Bvas machine transmits the accreditation figure directly to the iREV, so that in one snapshot you can see the accreditation figure and then see the accreditation figure that was captured on the result sheet. Now, without that second feature or third feature, as you call it, the result sheet cannot be interrogated. So this is just to highlight that that is one of the most important features of the Bvas machine. And for whatever reason, because we do not know, and I cannot speculate that it's for any nefarious reason, but for whatever reason, INEC has disabled that feature. And I think that it's important for civil society organizations who are concerned about credible elections in Nigeria to understand the nitty-gritty, the inner workings of the technology behind the elections, so that we can ask the necessary questions and demand that the best technology is used going forward in future elections.